Guys, I want to talk about why Reassurance is quite possibly the most perfect perk behavior have ever introduced to Dead by Daylight. For those unfamiliar with Reassurance, I should say, wow, I already messed up the perk name at the start of the video. It's the new Rebecca Chambers perk. What it does is if you're within 6 meters of a hook survivor, you can use the active ability button to pause their struggle progression for 30 seconds. And then it comes back up in 40 seconds time. Now, actually, the way that works is it comes back up 10 seconds after the hook stage is paused. Why do I think this perk is so great from behavior? Well, 2 reasons, right? 1, it can be used 6 times per hook state, meaning that a survivor can go from being on the hook for 1 minute to 4 minutes, which is pretty special. But secondly, it is like a perk that is very easily countered by the killers because it only works if a killer decides to face camp. And also, the killer who is face camping gets to see that it's active. The survivor on the hook turns white aura when they are affected by Reassurance. That means that if a killer is proxy camping or face camping, then they can see that the survivor is affected by Reassurance because they turn a white aura, and they can then move survivors away from the hook, which means that the perk gets really good value for the survivors, but also the killer can prevent someone from using the perk for longer and longer and longer. Now, you may be saying 4 minutes on a hook, that's a long time, DOWSEY. Well, yeah, no, it is. But there are like certain things in the game that, in my opinion, are unhealthy. And one of them is directly face camping a survivor. There are killers that can do it really effectively. For example, a Bubba is the most effective at doing. He can stand in front of a survivor and face camp them. So what Reassurance does is if a teammate comes over and activates it, it shuts down the value from face camping. It shuts down the gameplay that is boring, unhealthy, and generally just not good for DBD. And you might be like, well, my Bubba should be able to face camp. That's the only reason I play him. Well, I mean, I just disagree with you on that. And if we disagree, that's fine. I just think this is a perk that has so much survivor power in a way that actually doesn't negatively impact killer gameplay. There are a couple of things that a survivor can do, which you might think is a bit scummy though. For example, they can loop a survivor who is hooked, effectively keeping the killer in the area, whilst also activating Reassurance every 40 seconds. I kind of think that if you're able to do that more than once, then that's the killer's fault for not being able to catch a survivor within 40 seconds at a hook. Because I don't know how you loop a jungle gym for longer than 40 seconds and then continue staying at the jungle gym for a second usage. That's just me personally. But I mean, there's probably scenarios where a killer will fall prey to that. But for me, this is just a perk that for one survivor, it doesn't require Swift to make work. For solo queue, for example, it gives the survivors so much more agency against a completely uncounterable thing of Dead by Daylight. Now, you could make the argument that Reassurance isn't necessary for Dead by Daylight because perks shouldn't fix broken gameplay. And I'm with you on that. I don't think that perks are band-aids for broken gameplay. What I am happy to say is that we do have a band-aid fix for a broken gameplay aspect, which is face camping. And it pretty much prevents a killer from being able to get value from straight face camping. It also reduces the value that they get from proxy camping, meaning that the killer is forced to have more interactions with the survivor, chase more survivors. And it actually takes 2 survivors out of gameplay for this perk to be used, meaning that you're not just getting pure gen value from the Reassurance perk, because you actually have to be 1 on hook, 1 near the hook to activate the perk. So that's only 2 survivors on gens at any given time. And if you chase that person using Reassurance away, then the 3rd survivor has to come, meaning only 1 person's on gens as it works out. So it kind of forces killers into a more healthier gameplay, allows survivors to have agency. And I don't think it's a broken perk. It's not like Decisive Strike or Metal of Man when they were strong, where it's like, okay, well, I chased you and now I get fucked. It's a case of I decide to stand in front of hook because this is the only way I can secure pressure, and the survivors have something finally they can do about it. So let me know what you think about Reassurance. I personally think it's a really good perk, and I hope behavior doesn't change it.